The three flies that I'll tie all come off with the same basic principle, but the adaptation of the principle results in totally different flies that have different behaviors. I don't know that any of these flies will ever be mainstream in any fly shop. I don't know that they'll be mainstream in any fly tier's box, but they're good enough flies that they should be incorporated somewhere in everybody's fishing repertoire. They're simple flies, they're dynamic flies, and above all, they catch all kinds of fishes. I've used them in Mexico, I've used them in high altitudes of Wyoming, Idaho, California. I've used them in estuaries, I've used them in big streams, I've used them on the Texas coast, I've used them on the East Coast, in the Susquehanna River, for all kinds of fishes. So these three flies themselves can cover a lot of water, if you wish, in anybody's fly fishing repertoire. The first one is BrilloPad. Unfortunately, this fly is not my design. It's designed by my cousin who lives here with us. But I've taken it a couple steps beyond what he did, and it's become quite a fascinating fly. It's the most exciting fly for anybody to fish. That is to say, you can catch any kind of fish on it. There is no question as to whether a fish will take it. Instantaneously will be a yes response or a no response. So there's no need to drag it around, no need to let it drift, anything. It's a dynamic fly. Real simple. Yeah. Usually I tie this fly with a weighted body, but I don't have the weights with me or the lead wire with me to do this fly. But nevertheless, you get the same idea of what's going on. All good flies have certain things about them. For example, red and silver are basic food lovemaking colors among all fishes, in freshwater, in estuaries, and in littoral waters along the coasts. In my flies, I try to embody some aspect of red or silver or both. BrilloPad is a fly that requires a modicum of arrogance, I think, because it's so gaudy and so simple. If you attend any of the fly fishing shows and see the artisans work, some of the flies are so realistic that if there were a live fly flying around, they would try to mate with one on the guy's flies. But neither shall that ever be in my flies. All right, what I have here is, it's a mylar. In this case, it's flashy blue in brass, I guess is what that color is. And polar chenille. Before I started tying the fly, of course, I put a brass bead on the fly. That adds a little weight to the front and makes the fly have a tendency to dive. And it's that up and down diving motion that is so attractive to fishes, because in aquatic environments there are no organisms that habitually swim in this fashion, except maybe a leech, and anytime it swims it's vulnerable to being eaten. All the rest of the organisms have a horizontal, or what we call piscine action. And what I'm doing is spinning this polar chenille on a thread. The thread, if you were to look at it under ultra magnification, has a series of filaments that stick out at right angles to the axis of the thread. And it's these little teeth that catch this material here and keep it in place on the thread. That way there's no skinning of the fly. Watch what happens. Pull out these little pieces of mylar. A couple of wraps around behind the bead, and a couple of wraps behind this rope. Put a couple of half hitches behind the bead. A little bit of head cement. Glue is always good on a fly. Clip the thread. Remove the fly from the chuck. And you notice this mylar brass color was folded and double folded, so I've got a series of loops I have to cut out. And then to give the tail an even appearance in swimming, square it off. Behold, one BrilloPad.